Okay. Now, basically, what is your idea on compensation? Any idea of what do we generally do in compensation?
Like payments.
Yes. Now, yeah, everybody feels the same whenever you say the compensation. Okay, the success factors compensation module. Whenever you say compensation, people feel that it is the payroll or the payroll process. Okay. Now, this is not payroll process. Actually, the compensation module is not a payroll process. Now, here what we generally do is we'll be doing the compensation planning for the employees who are there already in the system. Now, let's say we have some employees in the organization. Every year, we need to review the compensation of these employees, right? Now, based on the performance, now the goals would be set up for those employees, and then based on their performance, their final performance will be evaluated, and the performance ratings are provided by the managers in the appraisals generally. Right. Now the appraisal ratings can be, A, B, C, D or 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever it is. Now, if your organization follow as A, B, C, D, if you say it is only 1, 2, 3, if you say it is 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, it depends upon the rating scale that is defined for each client. Now, whatever that the ratings are, now manager has to review the employee's performance and give some ratings. Okay, and these final ratings will be fed into system. Now, after performance rating, why do we generally do the performance reviews? Any idea why do we generally do the performance reviews?
For feedback, increase performance,
Yes.
to appraise the employee,
Yes.
probably highlight area of improvement.
Exactly. Now, if you have a team of 10 people and under you, under a manager, so we review the performances of each of the individuals and we'll make sure that each of them will get a proper the salary increase or the merit increase. Right. Based upon, again, every year a manager or a management will have a budget defined for the merit increases. Okay. Now, based on that budget, the manager has to align and give the merit increases or recommend merit increases for the employees. Now, this process, in the process from where after having the performance appraisal, the compensation planning starts at the manager level generally. Okay. Now, what does a manager need when he want to do the compensation planning for the employees? Generally, manager should need the employee information like employee name, maybe ID, personal ID or number. Okay, and department, you have division and business unit, so on. Okay, or position type. Sometimes you may have to promote the employee. Now, this is your employee information, employee personal information. Okay, this is employee's personal information. Apart from this personal information, he may also need the pay information, like let's say the grade the employee is in, pay grade, and you have pay ranges as well, which was defined in EC. Okay, and then current salary of the employee. Now, if we have multiple employees if you have multiple employees working in multiple countries, you may also need currency and the frequency of the pay that is getting paid. So sometimes some employees get paid monthly, some employees get paid annual, some weekly. Okay, so whichever that we are taking, it is either annual or monthly. Okay, this is the pay information. And now we need to also have the performance PM review or PM appraisal. Right. What would be the rating? appraisal. Okay, we need appraisal. Okay, and now what do we need? We need the merit to be given. Now, merit can be either amount or the percentage. Merit can be either amount or the percentage. That means manager will recommend some amount or some percentage. Okay, that is merit. And you will have final salary details. Like once the merit is given, either the percentage or the amount, you will get your final salary, which is generally the current salary. Now the current salary into the percentage of hike that employer has. Now let's say current salary is 20,000. Now here, if I give 3%, okay, it should be 20,000 into this percentage. This is the amount of hike that you have got. Now this should be your final salary, should be this one less this one. This would be your final salary. When your final salary is changed, your, let's say if you are promoting the employee, you may also have pay range, or you will have compare ratio and range penetration, which we have discussed. Now we should also have in the pay information the compare ratio and pay. Let's say I want to have compare ratio. Okay. Now, if the employee has got rating, let's say 2%, 3, 2, 3, 1, 4, 5. Now, these are the 5 employees that I have, 5 or 4 employees that I have, and I have employees with multiple ratings. Now, based on the employees rating, I have to review and I have to give the percentage. So, I need to have some guidelines from the organization, like if the employee has got performance rating of 1, it should have the increment from 2 to 3%. If the employee has rating of 2, then it should have some 3 to 5%. 3 will have 5 to 8%. 4 will have 8 to 10%. 5 will have 10 to 15%. Now I need to have guidelines from the organization. Otherwise, I may recommend any amount. Right. Now here you can also have guidelines. This is called guidelines. Guidelines are nothing but the percentage recommended by the management. Now, if he is getting 2, then it should be 3 to 5%. If it is 1 to 3%. It can be either bottom to top or top to bottom, depends upon organization rating. This is 10 to 15%. Now, these are the guidelines that are set by management. Now, managers should strict to these percentage. Now, based on the employee's percentage here, based on the employee's performance appraisal, system will default the guidelines. And manager will be allowed only to enter the values between these guidelines. Now, if the employee's rating is 1, system will give you the guidelines of 1 to 3%. And the recommendation manager can do either 1, 2, or 3. Now, it will not allow more than 3%. Here it will not allow more than 10%. Here it will not allow more than 15%. That's the use of your guidelines. You're about to ask anything?
Yes. These guidelines. What is it about? Is it about increment or is it about?
Yeah, it is. It is about the increment, percentage of increment that should be given to the employees based on the performance. Sometimes it is based on the percentage. Sometimes it is based on the performance. Sometimes it is based on the compare ratio. Sometimes it is based on the pay grade. Now it depends upon client's requirement. How do they want to set their guidelines.
Okay.
Okay.
What does the merit amount, what does it stand for?
Merit is generally the amount that the employee would be getting as an increment, salary increment. Now,
Okay.
this is my current salary, this is my rating, and these are the guidelines. Now, manager, when recommending the salary increase, either he can recommend a 3% or 4% or 5%. The maximum is 5. So he cannot input more than 3 here. It should be between 3 to 5.
Okay.
It should be between 3 to 5. So managers are restricted to enter the amount outside the guidelines. Okay, that's the purpose of these guidelines. Now, if I enter here 8%, system which should not allow, because as per management guidelines, if the employee has got a rating of 5, he should get the merit increase of 10 to 15%. So here you will have either 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 or 15. Not less than 10 and not more than 15. So here you will get the amount. Once you enter the percentage, system will record the amount. And that amount will be added to your current salary, and that will be your final salary after your compensation plan. Now, every client will have a compensation cycle. Generally, after your performance management review. Once the performance appraisal is done, the rating has to be transferred to compensation plan. Now here, manager will have all his direct reports, and then manager will be reviewing the compensation of the employee based on the current salary and the budget also. Manager will be given a budget of some amount. It can be a fixed amount or it based upon the employee's salary. Let's say the employee's total salary is coming to, let's say here it has 30,000, 15,000, 45,000, 25,000, and okay. These are the salaries, let's say. So this is the total amount. This is the total amount. Now manager will have a budget of, let's say, 10% of the employee salary. This is the 10% of the employee salary. Now, for this year, manager's budget is 11,000. So he should make sure that he is not crossing more than this 11,000. Now, if I say here 15%, okay, here I'll say 5%, it is 3%, it is 10%. Okay, what would be the amount? Now, this is my budget. Okay, let's say here also it is 10 to 15%, and is giving 15%. Now, what is the amount of increase that he is giving? 13,750, but he has got only budget of 11,000. So, while reviewing the compensation plan, manager will also look at the budget. What is the available budget he should adjust for these employees? Here, he may adjust it to 12% instead of, and here he may adjust it to 8% and 12%. Okay, here he may adjust it to 3%. Now here it is 10,800. Okay, now his budget is equal to the merit increase that he is. So he can have.
It's possible to spend less than the budget, isn't it?
Yes, it depends. Yes, it is possible. Now it depends upon the client whether whether manager is allowed to spend more than the budget, or it should be restricted to less than the budget. So all of these things will be configuring in the system. What information is required? Okay, and what are these are the groups. Personal employee professional information is a group, and here you'll have all the fields required in this group. Pay information is a group, and all the fields that are required under pay information. So you will be configuring these things. You will be configuring guidelines. You will be configuring merit. Okay, and you will be configuring the performance as well, which you may have 2 or 3 performance templates every year. But which one is to be considered for your merit increase? Some may be considered for bonus increase, or no, or some may be considered for merit increase. Okay, and what is the final salary to be posted into employees? Now, all this data, we get all this data from employees. All this data is existing in system, and we get it from employee center. And these are the guidelines that we have to configure, and the merit we have to configure. Okay, based on the guidelines, and these will be coming automatically. And budget needs to be configured as per client's requirement. Okay, now this is what we define in system. Now for this process, now now compensation plan always starts from manager, and the manager is called planner in compensation. Manager is called planner in compensation module, and it starts from plan. Now he may only recommend some amount, but what if we have approval process to be defined? What if we have approval process? Somebody has to approve that. The manager is recommending, I want manager's manager to approve. I want HR to approve. I want finance head to approve. I want HR. Now, this is your, now, initially I want comp head or comp admin to look at the template if there are any issues. So let's say I want to have the workflow process. So we can have here a route map. Who will be approving? Okay, what is the first stage? What is the second stage? Third stage, fourth and fifth stage? Okay, and then finally it is into completed. Now once we configure this route map, you will get this route map in the system. Now if you go and see the compensation module in system, okay, so let me proxy as one of the manager. Okay, now managers will go to compensation. Okay, these are the templates available. Okay, you go to any of the template. Now this is what is called compensation plan. You see here, this is the employee information. Now current employee information, I have employee details here. So this is group that what we have discussed. This one. This is group. This is group. This is group. Now you have employee information, current employee information, current pay information, your merit. Or you see your merit guidelines and merit. Both of them in one. Merit guidelines. You have 8 to 14 percentage, and system is allowing here 8 percentage. Now if I say 15 percentage, system says merit is outside guidelines because it is not allowing, because the guideline says 8 to 14 percentage. Even if you give 6 percentage, says merit is outside guideline, so it will not allow. If you enter 9 percentage, it allows. Okay. Now, if there are any adjustments, we can have adjustment, lump sum, and your final salary.
What's the adjustment for?
Adjustments are generally now, if this is required by the client, we can include these fields. Adjustments are nothing but now you have a budget of 11,000, what we have
Mhm.
discussed. Okay, but I have the employees for whom I want to give more I want to recommend some additional amount to the employees.
Or
Okay,
reduced?
now where a manager feels that employee salary is too less for the grade what is. Okay, now here as per the pay range, if it is from 20,000 to 50,000. Okay, but the employee is still here in 18,000. Okay, now he is recommending, he can only recommend up to 3 to 5% as per guidelines, but still he is at 18,720. But I want to recommend some additional increase for the salary. But this will not allow me if I put more than 5%. Okay, but I want to take him to the level of the pay range that we have, or the employees who are the colleagues of this employee has got more salary, and this employee was hired for less salary. So I want to recommend some salary adjustment for this employee. So I can give that adjustment. It is up to client again if they want to recommend. Okay. And similarly, lump sum is also same type of concept. Adjustment or lump sum. Lump sum is one bulk amount. Now, whatever that we propose, this is the salary increase that employee getting. Now, on top of it, we may also give some additional amount as a bulk amount. Let's say for this year, the company has really done well, and we want to give some lump sum amount to the employees, maybe a 10,000 or a 5,000 for each of the employees. Then we can have the lump sum.
Is that like
And then,
bonus?
yes, now it is not like bonus. Bonus, you will have a separate component again.
Okay.
Bonus comes under variable. Lump sum is a bulk amount that is to be that can be given to the employees. Now these are optional. It is not required that we have to include. We have an option in compensation and where we can include these adjustments and the lump sums for employees. Okay, and then these are auto calculated based. As well. Now we are talking about the budget. You see here budget. This is the budget I have. A budget based on here, if you see, it is the budget based on countries. Okay. As soon as we enter amount, it will deduct the budget and it will show me the remaining budget. Here, if you see, this is all in negative amounts. That means budget has increased. Let us say 8. Here it is reduced. I will say 5, 6, 7. Okay. I can look at the budget. If I have a more budget, I can include. But here it is minus 6.5%. Actual budget is only 3% that I got. Okay, but I have already given 9%. That is why it is showing up the negative. This is your budget. And then you have your approval process. Now here the approval process, first step is complete planning for global compensation. First step. Second step, it is going to HR representative, and then third step is completed. So each form you different may have different approval processes. Let me go and see. This has a different approvals here. First is compensation planning for annual plan. Okay, it goes to employee. And second, reward team review. it goes to HR representative. Third is your third process is goes to user payroll approval, and then fourth is that. So we can also have approval process. Now when I say complete compensation planning, okay, it can be moved to next step. It can be moved to next step. See here, this is at level 1. It will be moved to level 2. You have to put here and then complete compensation cycle. Once I click on complete compensation cycle, it goes to reversed. These are called approvals of the workflow process. Okay, so now if you look at the course content that we have, initially we'll have the compensation management introduction, compare ratio and range penetration, and salary proration calculations. What is compare ratio? So compare ratio is nothing but the percentage that is defined based on the annual salary of the employee and the mid-range. So the annual salary is divided by your mid-range to get your compare ratio. Similarly, your range penetration. What are these terms, compare ratio and range penetration, and where are they used in salary? And then setup provisioning access. Setup provisioning for compensation. What we need to do in provisioning. Enabling and navigating compensation administration. Where do we do the compensation related configuration? Assigning route maps to compensation templates. So how do we create route map? This is called route map. Approval process is called route map. So how do we define the route maps and assign it to compensation template? Employee data export and import. Now, if you want to have employee data to be uploaded into system, how do we do that? Compensation data uploading option. Again, if you have to import back in the system, how do we do that? Currency conversion table. Now we also have currency conversion table where if your client has got multiple operations in multiple countries, we may have to look at the currency conversions as well. Now on the form, you may have your, see here, these employees, if you look at the current pay information. Now, some of the employees' local currency is CNY, some employees' currency is USD, some employees' currency is euros, some employee currency is euros. Now, you have employees with multiple currencies. So, when you want to see, now as a manager, I want to see in their own currency or my currency. Now, here you have option of planner currency, employee currency, and if I say employee currency, now it is changed to employee's currency. Now, as a manager, I don't know these currencies. I want to see in my own language. Planner currency shows up in my currency. So to convert these values into their currency, we should have currency conversion table. So how do we maintain them? Salary ranges, job codes, and pay grade mapping. Now you also need salary range. This is the salary range for this employee. Depending upon the grade, this is the salary range, and this is the salary range. And based on the salary range, you get your compare ratio and pay range. Clone compensation plan, nothing but copying the existing compensation plan. Now this year I have completed the compensation plan. In the next year when I go to configuration, I don't have to do it from the scratch. I can copy the existing compensation plan which I have used it for last year. Okay. A plan setup, the basic setup that can be done. Advanced settings, some advanced settings to be done. Design worksheet, standard and column. Now this is your worksheet. This is called worksheet. So we have to define what fields are to be incorporated or what fields are to be included in the compensation plan. That's in standard worksheet, design worksheet. So in this, we have some standard fields and we have some custom fields as well. So how do we define standard and how do we define custom fields? And formulas in custom column. Now you can also have formulas. Now you can add, you can subtract, you can multiply, you can divide, you can do anything. So how do you write formulas in custom column? Lookup tables with custom business scenario. Now in some cases we may have to refer the tables in the backend. So how do we do that? Using lookup. plan instructions. Users should get instructions about the process to be followed. Okay, so you can maintain the instructions as well. Define compensation period data. Now, when manager is planning or manager is reviewing the compensation, if you want to see what was the salary or the increase that was given to the employee in the previous period. Okay, we can see the salary provisioning here. We won't have here periods. We can also have periods present here. Okay. And then you have budget rules. How do you set up the budget? So sometimes it is a pure, it is a fixed amount to all the planners, and sometimes it is the percentage of some current salary or percentage of a custom column. Okay, so how do you set up those budgets? And then eligibility rules. Now, if you have 1,000 employees in the organization, all the 1,000 employees may not be eligible for the compensation plan. The employees who have joined on or before September 30, if only the employees are eligible, then we can set up the rules. We have to write a business rule who are the eligible employees for this compensation plan. Guidelines, how to set up guidelines. Rating sources, we want to get the performance rating from your performance management firm or employee center. Sometimes if client is not using performance management in SuccessFactors, they are using outside SuccessFactors, then you may get the output of the performance management form and have that loaded in employee center, and from there you can define the rate. Define planners. Sometimes you have different structures of planners, like whatever the manager that is assigned in the job information, he is a planner. Or sometimes what happens is you may also have compensation managers instead of direct managers. If your compensation is reviewed by compensation manager, then can define the plans. How do we create worksheets, manage worksheets, and complete the worksheets? Once the worksheets are completed, we may have to generate the statements as well. Compensation statements are nothing but they are similar to your compensation statements or pay slips. Okay, where the amounts or the performance appraisal ratings, okay, all these things are mentioned in the letter. Okay, now this can be, once the compensation cycle is completed, we can push the data into employee central to employees compensation information, and we can also generate statements. So that is about your create compensation statement generation, recall compensation. Now, once you have generated these statements, if you found that there is some error in these statements, so how do we rectify them, or how do you recall the statements and rectify it? Modify compensation statement settings. Again, we have to change the statements. How do we change? Preview compensation statement, generate revised compensation statement. Now the employee's salary should be, now the final salary should be moved to employee's salary. So how do we do that? Okay, so all these things can be seen in compensation plan. Any doubts so far?
No.
No? Okay. So from tomorrow we may, maybe from Monday, not from tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm not available. So Monday can we start compensation starting from the provisioning setups?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, we'll start with provisioning. Yeah. Now, I'll show you the settings. What are the settings to be done for compensation? We'll discuss each step. What is there? Okay, why should we enable that in provisioning? And then move to the other topics. Now we'll see the implementation sequence as well. Why this is used? Why compensation plan is used?
All right. Okay. It's different. It's different from employee central.
It is different from employee center. Yes, the setting is different from employee center. Each module you have specific settings. Now, what do we use in compensation? Now, your client may not need compensation planning for the implementation. They want to have only EC and PMJ. Then we don't have to enable compensation module in system. So how do you enable compensation module and the functionalities that are there in the compensation?
Okay.
Okay, I have a basic template on the compensation planning. I'll share it with you. You can go through this. Okay, we'll start from the implementation sequence on Monday. So how do you set up company compensation in provisioning? First step is your setting up in provisioning. Okay, load and clean up initial compensation plan template. Define compensation planners. Okay, and then your template, import tables, set up families roles, budgets, set up budgets. You can create a test user file, give role-based permissions. Okay, who should view, who should edit, create compensation worksheet, enables commonly used reports, create and manage comp statements, then update worksheet. So this is the process that we follow. We'll start with step number 1, which is in the setup of provision. Okay, and then finally you also have compensation provision. Now, each of the steps that we have in compensation, I have taken down the screenshot and given what is there in provisioning, what each field is for.
Do you think during interview, for instance, if you are asked this kind of sequence, would you go through all
sequence, no sequence? They will not. Nobody in the interviews ask you sequence. Okay. Generally, this is recommended by SuccessFactors, and you may or may not follow the same sequence. You can work as per your convenience, but it is always from the provisioning. Now you should enable that in provisioning first to see that in instance. So that would be your first step. Okay, and then second step would be your again starting of your configuration. From where do you start the configuration? Afterwards, you have to give RBP. Okay, role-based permissions. You can shuffle the points that we have. We don't generally follow all the steps in a sequence.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. We'll catch up on Monday. Tomorrow I'm not available, so we'll catch up on Monday.
No problem.
The same time, or when do you want to connect?
Yeah, we can do same time on Monday. We can do same time on Monday.
Okay, Monday we'll do on the same time. And next week I'm doing the night shift. So even 8 p.m., 9 p.m. is fine for me.
That's okay then.
Okay.
It's all right. Thank you.
Anything else that you need?
Not for now. If there's anything, I'll drop a message for you.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you so much.